Hello again, and thank you for coming back to the Lazy Genius Tarot and Bazaar. Um, this is my second take at part 5 of my deck walkthrough series for my collection walkthrough series. And like I said, this is take 2. I shot it once and then didn't realize until the end that I have it oriented on my desk here for the sort of landscape layout on the camera, but I had shot the whole thing in normal up and down, so the orientation would have been weird if I would have posted that one. But this is part 5 of my deck collection series, and this time we are going to be talking about decks that follow their own systems. I'm going to start with these two right here. The Alchemical 5th edition and the Tarot of the Sevenfold Mysteries 2nd edition. These two are going to follow the alchemical system laid out by Robert M. Place in a book that is actually written for both of them. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but I will just do a quick flip through. Quick warning, there are nudity in Robert's cards. The artwork is super dope, though. I like his artwork. It is more of a pip deck. It is sort of an illustrated pip deck, but it is definitely more of a pip deck. The Lover's cards, it does come with an extra, like an alternate. So that's that one. The gold gilding on this one actually came kind of clumped together when I received it, but then after I kind of wiggled them loose of each other, they haven't stuck since. It actually riffle shuffles really well. It is a pretty thick cardstock. There's the backs. It is a pretty thick cardstock though, so it did take a little bit of time to like wear it in to get it to where it shuffles comfortably, but after a little bit of working with it, it definitely shuffles really well. And the gilding is held up also rather nicely because I am a riffle shuffler. So, you know, I kind of put the gilding to the test, but it's held up rather nicely. And then we have the Sevenfold Mysteries. This one is quite a bit wider than the Alchemical Tarot or your standard tarot card size. Again, a pip deck that operates on the same system spelled out in the same book as the Alchemical 5th edition. And again, sort of illustrated pips. The gold gilding on this one is matte, and the cards are quite a bit thicker actually than the Alchemical 5th edition. So it is a little bit harder to riffle shuffle as it's wider as well. And the edging has been holding up pretty good. It's going to take a little bit of time to work it in though, so that the cards sort of stop clumping as I'm shuffling it. For some reason, the matte gilding that he put on clumps a little bit more than the metallic gilding of the Alchemical 5th edition. Next, we have the Elemental Tarot. No, not the Elemental Tarot. That's on its way. This is the Enchanted Tarot. I apologize. This is the bag that I got for it. And this one operates pretty much on its own system. Some of the cards seem RWS inspired, but then there's so much else going on in the cards there. And then after having read the book, it definitely operates on its own system. But this is a super cool deck. The wands have the red borders, the majors have the purple, then swords have the blue borders. Cups has been changed to hearts, and it has like this pink border, and then the pentacles has been changed to, not changed, but it has the green borders there. So you can kind of tell by the border what card you're dealing with without even really looking at the titles. Pretty cool deck. I got it without the box. That is the 1990 deck, though I do have the book with it. Next is the Carnival at the End of the World. This deck also operates on its own system. The card stock is that like glossy linen card stock, so they're almost slippery. It's the same card stock as the Pagan Otherworlds deck. Thickness is pretty much the same. It's the same linen high gloss card stock that kind of makes the cards a little slippery. It almost feels plastic. There's the backs, and then this deck comes with a few extra cards, like Orlovsky here. The death card's pretty cool. But the artwork in here is super cool. I like the way that all of the cards are depicted. I'm not sure if this version is still available from the artist's website, but I do know that the book that came with it came from the website called Blurb. So next we have the Tarot Banksy by Kuptilu. This is the first edition, signed and numbered with the silver edging there. Again, I'm a riffle shuffler, and this edging has held up really nice to the shuffling abuse that I have put it through. I actually really like this deck. I work with it quite a bit. This is my favorite strength card out of any tarot deck that I have. And then my favorite magician card is also in this deck, which is this guy right here. And then it's got some, some of Banksy's quintessential work, I guess you would say. Like some of his most controversial work is in this deck, like this card here. I think the deck is amazing. I think that the images definitely help with a lot of the cards, but some of them are sort of off. But you can see when you read through the definitions that come with it, because it does come with a sort of a fold out there, and it goes through all of the card meanings. The card meanings do lean rather closely to the RWS system, and for the most part, the images also fit RWS really well when you understand Banksy's artwork. So it is sort of RWS based, but because of the nature of Banksy's artwork, the deck can definitely take you down a road of its own, because of the nature of this man's artwork. You know what I mean? It is controversial. It is illegal because he is a graffiti artist, so it is illegal work. You know what I mean? But the message that is held in a lot of his cards is crazy. Like this one, the world going down the drain. You know, cell phones becoming part of you. The Chariot card. You know, so the images, like I said, can be controversial, but that is the nature of the man's artwork, and that is what makes it so great. Now, because of the fact that it is like this stencil style graffiti, again, when you put these cards out, sometimes the storylines that are told doesn't necessarily match up with the meanings in the deck, because the deck here can definitely take you down its own road pretty quickly. The gilding has been holding up real nicely. There are a couple of spots where you can see chipping, but it's not really all that bad. I don't feel like it's anything to be concerned about as of yet, because I've put it through quite a bit of use. It's got like a matte cardstock. I think it's 350 GSM. Really nice cardstock there. This is actually the deck creator that gifted me the Ibis Tarot as well from my previous collection video. She gifted me this one also. So this was a gift straight from her. Super cool person. Turned out to be a really good friend. Thanks to the tarot community, I met a lot of really cool people. So I am definitely thankful to you guys for that. Next up on the list for the decks that follow their own system is the Ancestral Path Tarot. This is the blue box. This is going to be the 90s version of the deck there. The copyright on the cards says 95. So this is the first edition of the deck. It's still in order because I've, you know, shuffled it and flipped through it a few times, but I ended up putting it all back in order until I get a chance to work with it. The cards sort of, some of them follow a RWS theme, some of them follow a Thoth based, you know, it looks like they're almost Thoth based. The World is a super cool card. And then each of the suits is based on a different culture. The sacred circles would be the Native Americans. And then you see in the courts, and then the staves would be the wands. Sacred circles would be pentacles. Staves would be wands. And this is the Egyptian-based miners. The swords are going to be, I think this is Japanese. Yeah. And then the cups is going to be Arthurian, so like Camelot era. And again, I will do full walkthroughs of all of these decks eventually. I'll probably start on the walkthroughs once I get done doing the collection series here. Just a couple of more videos left to do after this one. And then next on the decks that I have that sort of follow their own series or their own systems is the Osho Zen Tarot. This is a older copy. It's not quite the first edition in the case that was sort of like the old 90s VHS style cases. This would be a second edition. There it is. Yeah, Yeah, so let's see, second edition, and this is the 94 copyright second edition of the Osho Zen. I leave the MasterCard in the deck, or in the box rather. I don't use it in the deck. I have reordered the deck a couple of times actually. I keep shuffling through it and then, you know, checking out the images and sort of sitting with the images a little bit. And then I'll reorder it and put it back away until I'm ready to work with it. But this is the Osho Zen, second edition. And then the next deck that I have in this video, and what I think is the last deck of the video here, is going to be the Tarot of Druids. Now, this deck, I actually saw a listing online in a Facebook marketplace for tarot about this shop owner out in New York that offers her psychic, intuitive services in picking you a deck from her store in New York and sending it to you. So whatever deck it is that intuitively speaks to her that is supposed to come out to you is the one that she sends you, essentially. Now, I've never been into like the Celtic or Druid style tarot decks. While the artwork is super cool, it's just not like in my ancestry at all. So I've never really had an interest in it over the course of time, although you know, that doesn't take away any credence or you know, validity of their systems or beliefs. It's just something that I haven't really ever studied much, right? So with this deck, I've never ordered a Celtic or Druid style deck, and I never thought that I would end up with one, to be honest with you, until I did the intuitive deck purchase. And when I did the intuitive deck purchase, it came out with this guy. Now, you'll see that the pentacles are like this sort of an egg thing. The cups, swords, the majors there, that is the magician. But he's not called the magician. He's all of the majors in this deck are based on druidic deities. And then there's the wands. But all of the majors are based on druidic deities. And the deck definitely follows more of the druidic systems as far as like card meanings and stuff are concerned than it does anything else. So this is going to take me a little while to really process and work through. I have already interviewed the deck. I'm going to keep it, you know, and at least give it a try, because I figure with the intuitively selected deck, it made it to me for a reason, right? So I've already interviewed it. Now I have to do some more research into the mythological background of each of the deities that are represented in the majors, and then hopefully that'll give me a better understanding of the minors as well as I learn to work through this deck here. So definitely an interesting deck, and this one is just the Tarot of the Druids 2004 deck from Los Scarabeo. It doesn't have a copyright on the front of the cards, and I don't see one on the backs. And that is the collection of decks that I have that sort of follow their own systems. In the next video, which would be part 6, I will be going over my Lenormand decks. I do thank you for joining. I appreciate you coming along. If you like the content, subscribe, drop me a comment, let me know if there's any sort of tarot videos that you would like to see, any decks specifically that you want to see walkthroughs of, and I will move those to the top of the list as I work through the walkthroughs of each deck individually. Like I said, thank you for joining. I appreciate you for coming along. Hit the subscribe button if you like the content, and I will see you on the next one.